France, the UK, Germany and other European nations are prepared to send troops to ensure a potential ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. This was stated by French Finance Minister Eric Lombard, who also noted that European forces would require US support.
There is a general agreement that in order to guarantee the ceasefire, it will be necessary to have European troops in Ukraine, and UK, Germany and France are already willing to do that, but other member states of the European Union will contribute as well. Those troops will arrive after the ceasefire in order to guarantee that ceasefire is respected. But if we want this ceasefire to be respected, we need a US backup. And I believe that Americans are agree to do that.
Lombard made this statement following French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to the United States, where he held talks with his American counterpart Donald Trump. Among the topics discussed was the potential deployment of European peacekeeping forces to Ukraine. According to Macron, dozens of EU and NATO countries are willing to contribute troops.
We want peace. This peace must not mean a surrender of Ukraine. It must not mean a ceasefire without guarantees. This peace must allow for Ukrainian sovereignty and allow Ukraine to negotiate with other stakeholders regarding the issues that affects it rather. And this is a peace in which we must commit to maintaining long-term security and stability for Ukraine and the entire region. Emmanuel Macron, President of France.
Paris has assured that the US President does not oppose the potential deployment of European forces to Ukraine. Donald Trump himself emphasized that any Western peacekeeping mission should be acceptable to all.
Something will be done that's going to be satisfactory to everybody. It's actually something I did discuss. A form of peacekeeping that's acceptable to everybody. Ultimately, we'll be able to agree on something, I'm sure. Donald Trump, President of the United States.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has also acknowledged growing support for the idea. He confirmed that 8 countries have already expressed willingness to send troops.
I am pleased that a group of 8 countries has joined this initiative with a positive outlook. These are the Nordic and Baltic nations. We had a meeting in Kyiv, and I believe this is very important. It depends on the role that the United States will play in all of this, which will determine the number of countries involved, the size of the personnel, and who will be able to contribute or provide guarantees, as this is part of the security guarantees framework.
However, there are ongoing discussions about the necessary size of the peacekeeping force. According to the Ukrainian Parliament's Defense Committee, the 30,000 foreign troops proposed by Emmanuel Macron would not be sufficient. People's Deputy and Secretary of the Parliamentary Committee on National Security, Defense and Intelligence, Roman Kostenko, emphasized that beyond troops' numbers, their potential deployment location, whether inside Ukraine or along the boundary lines, will play a key role in ensuring security. Reported by Katerina Bastun, Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News.
Europe may send up to 30,000 military personnel to Ukraine, the Washington Post reported. Discussion of the possible deployment of a peacekeeping mission in Ukraine as part of a ceasefire agreement has become one of the central topics at the summit of European leaders in Paris. According to the newspaper, France may send about 10,000 peacekeepers to Ukraine to ensure compliance with the terms of a peace agreement. However, as the head of the French Foreign Ministry emphasized, it's necessary to establish a lasting peace in Ukraine before the issue of the possible sending of French military personnel arises.
This is not a question that arises today. It is too early to talk about it. This question will arise when the time comes, once peace has been found so that it can be guaranteed. Jean-Noël Barrot, the Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs of France, in an interview with France Info.
London is ready to play a leading role in developing security guarantees for Ukraine as part of a future peace deal, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain has said. This means that in addition to military and financial assistance to Ukraine, the United Kingdom could send British servicemen to take part in the European mission, said Keir Starmer.
I've been clear today, Britain will take a leading responsibility, as we always have, because Ukraine must have a secure future. Europe must play its role, and I'm prepared to consider committing British forces on the ground alongside others if there is a lasting peace agreement.
The Swedish government does not rule out participation in a peacekeeping mission either. However, for this to happen, a just and sustainable peace must be achieved, the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Sweden said. Ukraine has made significant progress on the issue of establishing a contingent of foreign troops on its territory. This could be the first step to create a unified armed force for Europe, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy believes.
Я вважаю, що ми дуже сильно просунулись в питанні контингенту.
I think that we've gone too far in the contingent. I believe that there are countries that are skeptics, and they can remain. But I see that the issue of the contingent, the issue of the European army as a whole, can be the first step towards what I said about the European armed forces. The first step is when there is a Ukrainian army and there is a European armored force on the territory of Ukraine.
Poland and Germany are not yet ready to discuss sending their military to participate in the peacekeeping mission. The Prime Minister of Poland, Donald Tusk, said Warsaw is not going to send its soldiers to Ukraine, but is ready to provide its partners with logistical and political support. The Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz, called talk of a peacekeeping mission untimely, but at the same time he called on Europe and the US to unite on the issue of responsibility for Ukraine's security.
Auf uns verlassen, dass das der Fall sein wird.
From my point of view, many different things are being discussed, from international peacekeeping forces to other things, and it is quite clear to me that this is therefore an inappropriate debate at the wrong time and on the wrong topic. We are not yet at a point of peace, but in the middle of a war brutally waged by Russia, which is being fueled further relentlessly. We welcome the fact that there are talks on peace development, but it must be and is clear to us. This does not mean that there can be a dictated peace and that Ukraine must accept what is presented to it.
According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Lithuania, hundreds of thousands of peacekeepers may be needed to contain the Russian Federation. He called it an achievement that European countries are finally discussing the issue.
Lithuania would consider deploying troops if Ukraine requests it, which would be discussed with its allies. However, we need to act and plan and then talk about specific things, because peacekeeping and peace enforcement within a particular mandate are different things. Kęstutis Budrys, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Lithuania, in an interview with LNK News.
It's fundamentally important for Kyiv that the US military also take part in the peacekeeping mission. It does not necessarily have to be infantrymen, says the Ukrainian president. Different branches of the military, including the Navy, could be represented in the mission. Reported by Alexandra Zaslavets, Kristina Dombrovska, UATV News.